Are you saying that you just don't think Palestinian nationalism is stronger, or you're just under the impression that their tribal identity is stronger?
The Palestinian nationalism, the success of the Palestinian nationalism is just like the success of the Iraqi nationalism, or the Syrian, or the Lebanese, or the Libyan, or the Sudanese, or the Yemenite. It is in the slogans, it is in the papers, in mass media of the state. It is not in reality.
Have you done some polling on how Palestinians respond to a solution like this? Do you have some data from public opinion?
First of all, actually there is somebody else, a guy named Mashur al-Batran. Look, if I go and I ask this question, everybody will say yes, because vis-a-vis the Israelis, they will say that they are united. Okay, and this is the problem, because whenever somebody from outside comes to have a poll, Israeli or American or whoever, everybody will tell him, yes, we are united, in order to make face as if they're united. Just like the Syrians, they will all tell you that we're united. But domestically, they fight each other, or at least they don't get married with each other. So for me, there is a gap between the slogans which they broadcast to the outside and what the real behavior inside. Now, how do I know this? Only recently, like half a year ago, a guy named Mashur el-Batran, he is a researcher in Birzeit University, which is near Ramallah. He published an article in a periodical named Palestinian Studies. This is a peer-reviewed academic publication, and he wrote an article under the title "The Palestinian Authority and the Clans: Who Controls Whom Socially? The authority or the clans?" And this article gives a whole account and the whole story, what happens in the cities of Judea and Samaria, means from Hebron in the south all the way to Jenin in the north, and he proves that the control on the ground actually belongs to the clans, not to the Palestinian Authority. The clans are controlling the place. And he concludes his article by saying that either we Palestinians abolish the clanism and become a civil society, or the only solution which can be implemented is the 8 Emirate solution, which the Israeli researcher Mordechai Kedar came out with. This is what Mashur al-Batran is writing in this word. Of course, it's in Arabic.
Let's say that this plan was implemented tomorrow. Do you think Palestinians would be okay with this? Or do you think that there would be, let's say, backlash and eruption of protests and violence?
Look, if the cities will be left by the PA to do whatever they like, they will declare statehood and independence tomorrow morning. The problem is that the PA is armed. They have their army and the police, and they are armed to the teeth, and they might behave like the regime in Syria or in Iraq. If a city like, let's say, Jenin, dares to declare statehood, means that they are separate, they get separate from the PA. If a city like Hebron declares statehood, I think that the PA will not do anything, because Hebron is too strong. Hebron is too strong economically, and the clans have militias, and the PA will not be able to do anything if Hebron declares statehood and independence, and to solve every problem with Israel bilaterally. And I think that there are people who speak about this in Hebron because they hate the Palestinian Authority.
Isn't it fair to assume, though, that there will be some amount of rejection and some amount of violence, and that violence will make Israel need to continue security in the territories, causing checkpoints as exist today, creating a system that is unequal, which just continues to perpetuate this problem, further fueling hate against us?
Not at all. The mechanism in the Middle East says that once the clans get the authority, they behave in responsibility. Today, the clans have a marginal role, only in solving problems between people. By the way, in Hebron, nobody goes to court or to the police. They solve all the problems, between themselves according to the tribal or to the clannish customs. They gather all the jaha, as they call it in Arabic, the group of mashayikh, of the old people, the shuyukh, the sheikhs, and they solve the problem within an hour. Every problem, every dispute, every struggle, every problem between people, they solve it, and they know how to solve it. They don't resort to the Palestinian judicial system. They don't go to the police. They don't need the mechanisms of the Palestinian Authority, because they have their own ways how to deal with dispute and struggles and differences. So this is why socially the PA has very, very little presence in Hebron area. So if Hebron declares statehood, this will be only natural, and the clans of Hebron definitely can control themselves, just like in the Emirates in the Gulf. Who controls the Emirates in the Gulf?
The clans?
The clans of the Emirates in the Gulf. The mechanisms here in Hebron are more or less the same like in the Gulf. So this is why I'm more than sure that it will work. Now, there is another very important characteristic in clannish states. They locate the jihadists way before the others, and they get rid of them before the others even know that the jihadists succeeded to come to their place. They have very sensitive sense of smell, and they smell the jihadists from very far, and they get rid of them very decisively, because these jihadists want to challenge the authority of the clan before they want to challenge us, Israel. So this is why I'm more than sure that the clans will know very well how to deal with all the jihadists, whether from Hamas or the jihad or all the others.